look, it's a sewing tutorial. Figure out how to cover my chest freezer that I keep in the living room. Why do I need a chest freezer in my living room? Because I gotta freeze a lot of things. Some people, I guess. I'm not sure if we're watching a sewing tutorial or a crime investigation. It's questionable. Good luck.
Happy Mother's Day, everybody. May 12th. I go pick up Brian and Quinn today at 2:15 at the airport, and I kind of wanted to surprise him by having this done when he got home. Just in case you too have a chest freezer in the middle of your living room, you might want to disguise it. So I think this is the third part of this, but we're going to work on it a little bit today. So I've cut the panels for the bottom. And now what I'm going to do before I start sewing anything, I kind of want to fit everything together. One of the ideas that I had for the top of it is there's a different fabric for the top, and my bottom panels, because of where the seal is, I'm going to put Velcro here, hang the bottom panels, but then I don't want to see the seal. So I want the top to hang down, and then I was going to sew fringe over it. Because you need an airtight seal for the freezer, I wanted to make sure that when people are opening and closing the freezer, that the top fabric or the fringe doesn't get stuck in the seal. One way I thought of doing that was by putting a board over the top that extends just a little bit past the edge, all the way around, to kind of give it a little overhang, and then the fabric would go down so that when it flops down, it clears the seal. I ended up getting the display boards that fold. I'll show you. These are like project boards for kids for like science projects. Okay, so I did that and putting it on where the folds this way, because if you put it this way, you know, they're going to flop down. So I'm going to go this way, and I kind of just put it on there and eyeballed it for what I thought looked like a good amount of overhang. I don't want it to stick out so far that people are bumping into it and catching on it, or that it becomes a weapon in the house. I thought about a 1/2 inch overhang looked good, or 3/4 of an inch. So the way I did it was I just lined it up on one side and then went to the other side and measured it out with a ruler, doubling that expanse and drawing a line, or however I did it. Now I guess I went like 1.5 inches this way. How did I do this? Yeah, I went double on this side, and then I just went on that side and drew a line with a pencil on the underside. And then I did the same thing with the front. I gave myself the spare on one side, and then I just climbed underneath with a pencil and drew my line a little ways. That's how I did it. You could also just measure the top and add to it. But I've got my line drawn on here, and I'm just going to use a square now, make sure that it's kind of square or very square, and I'm going to cut this out. All right. So with that, let's see here. And then you want to make sure, you know, you're kind of far away from the seam, just in case it busts. But there we go. Yeah, and I didn't draw my line very square, so clearly when I put that on there, I didn't have it very square. So let me just double measure this, see what we were doing, because I kind of half-ass things. All right. So with that, all right, my freezer is 37 inches wide. And my line was drawn at 38.5. So I was giving myself 3/4 of an inch on either side. I'll line up my square at 38.5. There we go. Gonna grab a pencil and a knife. There we go. And then this direction, 21. I don't need to hang over. No, I'm going to have it hang over the back here. So I've got 21 plus 1.5 inches would be 22.5. Hope you're all having a great Mother's Day. Whether you're a mom or not. Because it's still a day. Well, no, I like to keep that on there so I can trap shit everywhere. Okay. Alright, we're gonna have to move you because I'm gonna have my back to you. Do it like this. There. Thinking. Okay. Line up good. Sure. There we go. Now, I didn't cut all the way through. I just scored it. This stuff is foam. So I should be able to just kind of, should be. I've gone all the way through it. Bust the whole side off. Doing a little bend. You get in there. And I'll just turn this so you can see what the hell I'm doing. I'm just kind of bending it a little bit so that it opens up that scoring, and then I just stick my knife right in where I went. And very slowly following along so that I don't. This is just how I do it. If I put a piece of cardboard down, I could have gone all the way through, but I didn't. Because I didn't want to, cut through into the freezer top. But hey, I'm doing this without, thinking things through. Another Trainwreck tutorial. Learn from what I did wrong. I don't have my glasses on. There. And then this is spare parts. Kind of like I'm giving you the finger. Okay. Yeah, obviously it flaps down that way. So I'm going to use it this way. And it's just slightly bigger than my freezer. I got a bent up corner there, so I'll probably put it this way. And I can reinforce those seams by running duct tape on it. Give it a little more strength because one side's already scored. So let me do that. All right, I'm going to apologize for the sound of the air conditioner kicking on and off all the time. I can't just shut it off because, you know, well, I'll sweat to death. But all right, I started keeping all of my tape in plastic bin. I used to have them hanging on those pins in my closet, but this just created less hazard with things falling on me. And then if you haven't seen it before, if you're new, you haven't watched every single one of my channels, I have scissors that I've got a label on it that they're for tape and cardboard, because you don't want adhesive all over your good scissors. You don't want to dull them with, you know, cardboard. So I have a specific pair for junk stuff. So I'm gonna tape my seams. And hey, let's use white. And what I'm doing is I'm gonna just reinforce these on the underside. I'm a little nervous about putting tape on the side where the fabric's gonna go because I don't want to see a lump. It's pretty thick fabric, but I'm not gonna take a chance. And I could probably just tear it, but hey, let's be all, you know, half decent about tutorial. I don't know what I'm saying. All right. Oops. See, that's exactly right. Okay. I didn't quite get that one down straight, but it's the underside, so it shouldn't matter. There we go. Now it doesn't go wonky on us. Right. Oops, sorry. There. So now I've got just a little bit of an overhang on every side so that when my fabric goes down, hopefully it doesn't. Now, my plan is I'm going to put my fabric on this, probably spray adhesive the top to it, and then as far as onto the freezer, because you know this isn't going to be permanent, I don't want to like spray adhesive this and leave that residue all over it. I'll find some other way of attaching it to the freezer. Not quite sure how I'm going to do it yet. I'll figure something out, whether it's going to be like velcro or something. We'll figure that out later. But that's done. Now, I kind of wonder if I should run one over that. I don't know. That will probably be okay. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We're winging it. Okay. All right. Now, here's my panels for the sides. And here's my fabric for the top. Let me put some stuff away here. Safety. I don't think you're going to see a piece of tape through that. That's awfully thick. I think I'm okay. I'll probably tape it again and maybe tape around the edges of the foam too to give it a little more. I just wanted to double check how thick this was. But it's a very thick tapestry kind of material. So yeah, I'll probably reinforce with a round of tape around the edge and a little bit. But you can see it's got kind of an overall stripe pattern to it, and then another pattern on top. So what I am thinking for symmetry and balance, just kind of looking at it from a distance, you know, I think I want this red stripe centered this way, and then just looking at it, this seems to stand out to me, this pattern here, and then of course these stand out. Now, most people probably wouldn't like obsess over this part, but I have to. So I think I want this design in the smack center and then the red stripe centered. So I'm going to just kind of play with that a little bit. But first, just, I guess, before I do that, let's tape up the thing, because I'm getting ahead of myself. So I'm going to tape it up a little more reinforcement. We'll come back to this. All right. But that would be one thing, depending on the fabric that you're using, if you decide to do something like this, is consider whether or not the thickness of your duct tape or reinforcing tape is going to be visible through your material if it's thinner, like a cotton or something. So, just a suggestion. All right, with this being my top, let's see here. That looks like it's just a little wonky. I didn't cut quite straight, but I can instead, yeah, here's what I'm gonna do. This was my cut line. I can see it's a little shaky. If I flip it around, this is machine edge. We'll do it that way. And then I'm just going to run a piece of tape around the outside to kind of help protect these corners, because this stuff's very thin and can dent easily. So let me just start with the sides and then I'll do the front. All right. Let's see, I'm going to just do it, let me do it this way so I have a nice edge at the front and the crap at the back. go. Trying to avoid any bubbles or wrinkles in the tape on the top half. I don't care about the bottom so much. Let me do this side. And because this is like a thin paper, you can't, there's no pulling it back up. You get one shot at this. The tape I'm using is just a 3M white duct tape. And I'm pushing it down along the edge as well because there is a thickness to the edge. I'm not just going straight around because I don't want to end up with lumps and bumps along my edge. So I'm pushing it down along that edge also before I flip around onto the back side. There we go. All right, and we'll do the front. And again, I'm just going to be in your way. I'm sorry. Got a little crooked on this end, but that's okay. It's still flat. My board was a little dented right there. I'm just trying to flatten it out as much as I can. You want to start at one end and work your way to the other. Don't do one side and the other. You'll end up with a lump in the middle. Always want to push any bubbles from one end to the other if you get them. Or you'll end up with a wrinkle. There we go. There we go. All right, now. Do a little on the back side too, I guess. Might as well, why not? See. Actually, let me do this. I'm going to try and get rid of that little lump here. better. Okay.
A little bit of a wrinkle there, but it's okay. It's okay. Oh, got another one there. Tiny little bit. I know, keep walking back and forth in front of you. Sorry. Alright.
Now, if this was going to be a surface that would get wet, I would suggest using Coroplast instead of one of these. Coroplast, when we used it for our guinea pig cages, we ordered it online because there was a million colors you could pick from. Sign companies tend to have it, so if you stop by your local sign shop, you can usually buy a sheet of Coroplast from them in like standard colors like white for, let's see, 4x8 sheet, like a piece of plywood size sheet. I think we were paying about $35 a sheet for that stuff, but it is, it's like cardboard, but made out of a hard, or firm, not hard, because it's still flexible, kind of like a straw, that kind of plastic cardboard, Coroplast. You could use that if it was a surface that was going to get wet. This shouldn't be getting wet because people shouldn't be putting anything wet on here. Okay. But yeah, if I knew where the local sign company was and wanted to spend 35 bucks on it instead of whatever this cost, a couple dollars, a few dollars, that would have been the way to go. Coroplast. And let's see here. I want to just reinforce my corners a little because people might bump into them and start denting them. Or maybe I don't want to. I don't know. Maybe just a little. We'll try it. Let's see how we're going to do it. Let me figure it out. Let's see here. Go. Sure. Just got this. And I put it a little square, and I'm going to cut it diagonally into the corner. Find it. Very. And flip one side this way, and one side that way, and around. A little bit extra meat on my corner. There we go. Right. All right, back to this, what I was talking about. It's pretty good. Looking at the, between this block on the edge and that block on the edge is got it. 1.5 inches. Not quite 1.5 inches. Need to go switch this way. 1.25 inches. And 1.5 inches. 1.25 inches. There. Close enough. And then from this to the red line, let's see, now we'll go to, yeah, to the red line. Just under 8 inches. And that's over 9. So I want it to go this way a little more. But my eye keeps going to that. I don't know. We'll see. 9 inches to there. Let's just step back and look at it. See if it looks okay. Yeah, that looks okay. Huh? What do you think? And because I have a stripe pattern, I can double check that my pattern is right at the edge, and it is. That's good. Okay. So this is where I want it. So with that, I've got what I'm gonna do, because I don't have like a specific length in mind. Let me see here. I think what I'll do is just for now pin it, because I've got, let's see, got a good 7 inches of spare there, way more than 7 there. And how much spare do I have on the back? More than 7. Do I have 7 over here? On this side I've got, no, on this side I've got about 5 inches of spare. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pin it at 5 inches, I think. And we'll see how that looks. And then try opening and closing it, see if it gets stuck in the seal. If it does, then I'll have to go shorter. But I'm just thinking visually, the longer this hangs down, the more balanced it's going to look with the bottom. So with that, let me grab my pins. Hold on. All right, I'm going to start with this side first, because that's the one that I don't have that much leftover fabric. Just to see what I've got here. I've actually got 6, because I could sew, this is machine edge, I could sew my fringe right to that, so I can go 6 inches. So with that, 6 inches. Yeah. Let's see. Actually, let's see here. 6 1/4. Oh, that makes it confusing, doesn't it? Let's see, how do I want to do this? Just thinking it through. I hate doing 1/4 inches and stuff. I think we'll just do 6. We'll do 6 inches. Now, because this is foam board, I think I'm just going to stick a few to hold it in so it doesn't shift. There we go. And yes, I'll go this way with it. There we go. Right along that pattern. Alright. Makes it so much easier when you're doing stripes to just follow the pattern on the material. So I've got 6 inches. On this side, yeah, it's right at 6. And do 6 down this side. Alright, it's giving me complications because it keeps going up on the top. So let's just pin it down to board. Right there, there. Okay. Now, there we go. And gotta switch my laundry. Okay. There. Okay. And I probably won't worry about the back. Okay. Let's see how that looks. Now it's going to hang a little weird right now because it's like double, triple, quadrupled over. But I think it's going to look okay. And then I've got the fringe that goes on that. So then eventually, yeah, that's going to go on there too. Okay, so I want to try this out and see if it's going to flop into my seals. So let me just pin it down to the board a little bit more so it doesn't go all over the place. And I flip it up. So that's about where it would sit. I think. Let me see. Yep. Back a little bit more. There. Okay. So the sides look good, they're clear. And then, yep, flops out. Now, not everybody's gonna just flop it down like that, but even if you go slow, the air kind of pushes the fabric out and it's away from the seal. I think we're good. All right, so I got that done. So now I can hem this and add the fringe around the top of this, and then I can do my side panels, hem those, and attach the velcro, the sew-on velcro to my fabric, companion adhesive Velcro on the freezer second. That way, if I put the Velcro on the freezer first and then I sew my other Velcro wrong, I'm just thinking I should sew it on first, attach it, and then stick it up there exactly where I want it. That's my thought. So we'll do that next. Let's hem this and do that first. That sounds like more fun.
This wasn't nearly as calm and relaxing as I expected. I feel like I might be called as a witness. I'm not sure. Anyway, I think she's been watching too much true crime and listening to Morbid too much. She's starting to come unraveled. Hope you got something out of it. Hit subscribe and the bell if you want to see more of this. Or figure out what happened.